Welcome to another episode of the Metalqueenspodcast, the show where we amplify the voices of women pushing heavy music forward, artists who don't just play songs, but create entire worlds too. I'm Steve Richards. Today's guest comes from LA, fronting a band that feels less like a project and more like a cosmic collision. Black Sheep is a meeting of universe and fate, a sound that's dreamy yet volatile, built on immersive soundscapes, raw emotion, and stories that refuse to be polished or diluted. At the center of it all is Rosie Noir, and she joins me now from the Black Sheep studio in LA. Welcome.
Hi, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. Very festive setting there too, with the lights in your studio. Love it. Then the guitars behind you. Perfect.
Oh yeah, this is our home. This is everybody's home away from home.
So Rosie, we're going to start with your story on how you got to LA. I know you're from Indiana originally. I know your dad
Yeah.
was a big influence on you too. How did you end up? Something about $200 in your pocket and a guitar?
Yeah, so long story short, I'm not gonna get super duper into detail, but I was in a situation where I was about to be homeless in Indiana. Um, and shortly at the time, it was like kind of like fall. So I was couch surfing, going here and there. And I had been couch surfing at for this one friend who was doing like some music production, recording music videos. And they're like, hey, we're going to go out to LA and shoot this music video. We could really use your help. And I was like, okay, yeah, sure. Like, it's not like I got, like, otherwise you're going to have to find another couch to sleep on. So you can come with us. I was like, all right, let's go. Fuck it. So we went. Am I allowed to curse, by the way?
Yes.
Okay. But yeah, I came out. I was just like, all right, let's go. So we went, we did the music video. And then I was like, you know what? I think I'm just going to stay here, guys. After, and they're like, are you crazy? And I was like, probably. Like, yeah. But I'm like, it's going to be wintertime. I'm like, what am I going to do? Like, what am I going to do? I might as well, like, I've always wanted to be out in LA. And even when I was out here just doing stuff, I already felt like a lot more at home than I ever did in Indiana. I was usually that, you know, odd one out that would skate to school before it was cool. Now everybody skates. And I'm just like, you guys were all making fun of me back in the day with the blue hair and everything. Everyone was making fun of me for the colored hair. And like now everybody's doing it. I'm just like, geez. But I ended up staying out here. All I had was $200, guitar, backpack, clothes. And I was homeless for quite some time. But I started I tried like getting other odd jobs, like seasonal jobs, but where the money really started coming from was from busking. I would go out on Santa Monica Pier, Venice Beach, whichever storefronts that wouldn't kick me out or call the cops. Like, and I just started saving money from there, getting little Airbnbs here and there at the time, until I finally was able to afford my own place and get a car.
All right, I have
So
a
it took
question.
about 6
I have a question about the
years.
busking because I interviewed pop artist Andy Grammer a long time ago, years ago. We went out to dinner and he told me the whole thing about, and he was a busker on Santa Monica Pier. He told me
Mhm.
about the whole thing, how it's very organized. It's not unorganized. Everyone has their own
Oh
spot.
yeah.
And if you
Mhm.
take someone's spot, you're in real trouble.
Oh yeah, because
Big
it's like
fucking
not like
trouble.
yeah. Basically, everyone will gang up on you. You got to be there at a certain. You got to be there at the butt crack of dawn too. Like it's competitive out there.
Mm.
But the cool thing about that is that there's actually like a lottery. Actually, like what they have is just like because people like you put when you take yours because they're all numbered. So you pick your spot. At the end of the day, because they have like several like periods of like how long you're gonna be there, they'll draw a number. I never won, by the way, but um, people would go and there would be like a lottery, like just a
Oh.
little like random number drawing. So that's always cool. So if anyone watching wants to give that a shot, all you gotta do is make sure you have your $35. I think it should still be $35. Get that Santa Monica permit. Otherwise, the cops can take your tips.
Mm. All right. So first of all, how did you get into Black Sheep? And for listeners discovering Black Sheep for the very first time, how would you describe the sound to them?
I'd say that it's very raw, but like raw, but not like disgruntled, I guess, in like because everything is just very, the way that we record, even Tears, we recorded a lot of the vocals Actually, believe it or not, because we're kids, we don't have money for big, to book big studios. This Holiday Noise where I'm at right now, this is our guitarist's garage, like that we've converted into a studio. And like slowly over time, we pitch in a little bit here and there and get more equipment, like our amps, our speakers, our sound gear, just slowly over time, like accumulated. So our stuff is very raw, but in the sense that it's still not like unprofessional. Everything's, I mean, Julian went to MI. He's got that train. We've a lot of extensive research into getting our sound. Black Sheep, it was actually kind of funny when I was first here for the very first time. Do you want me to get into how I met the band? Because that itself is pretty funny. So I was a Lyft driver for a little bit. When I got my first car, I was doing Lyft and Uber, thinking that would pay off well, and it did not. but it did pay off in the way that I was working one night and I was about to, I told my riders, I was like, okay, y'all are my last ride. I'm going to go home after this. And then right as I was dropping them off, I got another ride request and I was going to hit no, but then I looked at the guy and I was like, you know what? That's a cool Hawaiian shirt. Like that's a cool shirt. He looks normal. Like I'll pick him up. It turns out to be one of the Black Sheep's original bassists at the time. And I was playing some metal music, like, rocket. I think it was like, it was Soak Me in Bleach. That's what I was playing on my car speaker as I was going to pick him up. And as he's walking to the car, I'd like start to slowly turn it down out of habit. And he's like, oh, finally. He's like, a driver with good taste. And I was like, you like this stuff? Like, okay. So I turned it up and we started talking. He's like, oh, yeah, like I'm in a band. We've got this gig coming up. We don't have a vocalist though. And I was like, what do you mean? Like, are they sick? Like, no, we just don't have a vocalist. And I'm like, you guys accepted a gig knowing that you don't have what are you going to do? And he goes, oh, we're just going to do it instrumentally. I'm like, are the other bands going to be instrumental bands? He goes, no. And I'm just like, what the heck? And he goes, well, it's really hard to find a vocalist from here. I'm just like, well, let me know. And he goes, are you serious? Like, I felt weird asking, but what are you doing tomorrow? I'm just like, I guess band practice. So he brings me in, and our rhythm guitarist, he did not like me at first. He goes, because he asked Nick, he's like, oh, who is this person? Is this your friend? He's like, no, I just met her yesterday. And he's like, and you're bringing this stranger like into our like, what if she's like a murderer, like a serial killer or something? I'm just like, man. And I got that vibe right away. He's like, oh, I thought I hit it. I was like, I got that vibe right away. Because then after that practice, we jammed a little bit. And then I didn't hear from any of them except for Nick, the bass player. Just like, I didn't hear from any of them for a few months. Then out of the blue, Ernesto, the one that didn't like me, decides to hit me up on Instagram. It's like, hey, I'm doing this. Like, I need some help with this collaboration. I know that you're a keyboard player. You do keys. You have your own equipment and gear. I need help on this song. So I'm like thinking to myself, I'm like, oh, look who came crawling back. Part of me, my pride, part of me wanted to be like, nah, but I was bored. I was bored that night. So I was like, all right, let's do it. Let's do the thing. He goes, all right, so this is the address. You're going to go to the studio, but it's not a studio, but it's a studio. I'm like, what do you mean? He's like, it's this guy's garage. And I'm just like, all right, let me strap up before I go. I'm just like, all right. I even shared with one of my friends. I'm just like, by the way, I'm turning on my location in case I don't come back tonight. But I walk in, it's in East LA, and I'm already iffy. I'm like, where do I park? And I come in, and immediately it's just like vibe change. Like everything is super professional. Everything's like, there's sound panels up on the wall. And I'm just like, this is actually like, I was not expecting this. So went and recorded the part. It was originally just supposed to be a collaboration, but check this out. Right after we're done, I pack up, my car battery died, like the key fob. And I was at the end of the driveway blocking everyone in. And it was late at night. I couldn't get, we tried to find, because all I needed was another one of those little, little circle batteries, like 20 CR32 or something like that. 7-Eleven didn't have them. We had to wait until the morning. So we were all there, and like our guitarist, he was doing some other stuff, and he comes back out. He's like, "You guys are still here?" And we're like, "We're stuck, man." And during that time, while we were just sitting, we were also, I was in like my little blanket. Like I had one in the car that I would keep just like sitting on the steps, on the cement steps outside of their house. And just like, we actually got to talk and know each other. And had that not have happened, I don't know, that might have and that song that we did that I'm referring to, that's All the Things I Do. That's the first song on our
Yeah.
debut album. That might have just been a collaboration, but because I don't want to say that's, maybe it's because of fate, but that definitely, kind of brought things on. And we were talking, we were just like, oh, I'm always the black sheep of the family. He's like, oh yeah, me too. Because a lot of us are like, like first generational from like immigrant families. And, with expectations like, oh, be a doctor, be a lawyer. But instead we decided to be disappointments and choose music.
Yeah.
But
And here you
yeah,
are.
yeah, that's how we got to talking about it. We're just like black sheep. And then what ended up happening is Julian and Ern had to push my car out of the driveway as I like steered. And I'm just like, oh my God. And Ern ended up driving me home. And then right as he was dropping me off at my house, he goes, do you want to like do this shit? And I'm just like, huh? He's like do the band. Like, I know I was like iffy about, he's like, but I thought that you were like some, transplant, like what they mean by that is just like, people that come from different states that come out to LA with the dream to make it big with mommy and daddy's money. And he's like, you're not. He's like, I thought you were. He's like, but I realize now that, you're just like us. I'm like, yeah.
$200 and a guitar.
It started from basically nothing.
Yeah. The debut album, the EP, Tears, came out in 2024. What are the plans for new music coming up this year, Rosie? Obviously, you're in the studio, so you guys must be recording.
Yeah, we've been working on some new stuff. We got a lot of demo work. That's not, the hardest thing is that like our drummer Riker, he's in college still, so we get very limited amount. He comes back for the summer, and then he was back during Christmas, and we did some tracking stuff like over the holidays and stuff too. Um, but as of right now, we do have basic like groundwork done for a few songs. I am shooting for another album, but we will most likely release another single first. That's the plan so far.
All right. Yeah, a lot of bands are just releasing singles for a while before they come out with an EP or a full album. As I was listening to the EP, and I know your music's been described, Black Sheep is dreamy. Your vocal delivery feels very deeply emotional, sometimes very haunting, sometimes explosive too. How do you approach your vocals as a storytelling tool rather than just a melodic one?
Okay, that's a great question. So I almost everything that I write, like it's not just, it's not just a song. This is actually, it's based off of, I'm sure from what you read from bio, it's based off of actual true events. Everything, at least that I'm singing. I can't deliver a song, I feel like, with like the way it's supposed to if what I'm singing is not true. Otherwise, then it's a performance rather than, I don't, that's something that I always like to set aside. Like, I don't want to just be a performer. I open up a little bit on stage because I'm really, I don't know if you can already tell, I'm honestly, I'm pretty awkward. I'm so awkward in person. And I'm like, I always would tell people too, I'm just like, don't think that the way that I act on stage is the way that I act on real. I'm the coolest when I'm performing like on a stage because that's when I'm the most comfortable, oddly enough. But then after the show, like you go and see me backstage and I'm just like, hey, like, do you like bread? Like, I'm just like, so everything that I write about, it's true. It's based off of, actual events in my life, especially like even fall. That was something that I wanted to really, it was the date that was released was very important because that was also my the third year that I've been sober. Because when I came out here, I was out on the streets being scared as a female, to even sleep. I mean, that's how the guitar that I came with, that's how it got stolen because I fell asleep
Mm.
by bus stops. And somebody took it out of the case. They took it out of the case. They left the case on my back. I got onto the bus. I'm just like, this feels light. And it was my case was empty.
Mm.
So, I mean, that was the fall was probably one of the one of the more emotional songs that we had. Just talking about experiences and overcoming that addiction and just staying sober. Because I know that's a thing that's in the music industry. It's something that's kind of like, brushed under the rug about, but it's a problem.
Yeah. Rosie, LA has a massive and often chaotic music scene. How has being based in LA shaped this band Black Sheep's creatively or pushed you to stand apart from all the noise?
Well, being in LA, I feel like it's really helped in the sense that there's more people that are into, I guess, like have that same creative vision. It's hard at first. Like, I mean, for the longest time, I was just kind of busking and doing stuff. And like, I was not okay with, I didn't want to be a solo artist. And I had actually had um, opportunities and offers, to sign with different labels. But I'm just like, but they wanted to change my original sound. They're just like, oh, like, you can do this. Or like, what if you became like a hip hop artist or something? And I'm just like, no. No, they're like, oh, but you can do it. You're like, yeah, being versatile is one thing. It's like, yes, I can do it, but do I want to do that? I'm just like, no. So I guess being in LA really kind of helps with just having that like wide, because it's like a melting pot. You have
Yeah.
people of all different genres, and once you find your niche, once you find your people that have that same creative vision with you, it's just like, it's only uphill from there.
For many listeners, your music feels like a release, something to scream, cry, or really disappear into. What do you hope fans feel after listening to a Black Sheep song?
I mean, I hope that they just feel, my biggest thing with music is just hoping that other people can relate, because I talk about things sometimes that not everybody likes to talk about, like one thing that I would always do, like somebody was actually surprised and like, I was surprised that you admitted that were an ex-addict and that you used to be homeless as an introduction, like to your band at this venue. Like, I was like, honestly, I like to talk about the things that most people are uncomfortable to talk about, because when I was going through my own demons, my own hurdles, I felt very alone. And music was the only release that I had. And now that I think about it, I'm just like, if I can have other people feel like they're not just the only ones that are going through a certain situation with the music, why not? It's important that, because people crave, connection. They don't want attention. They think that they want attention, but what people really crave is connection and being able to feel like they're not, alone in this world. And it sucks because a lot of times people go and they'll seek, going to parties, especially out in the LA music scene, going to parties, going to big shows. And it's not so common that people talk about it, but there's every once in a while you meet those people that are just like, I feel the most lonely in a crowded room.
Yeah.
And I mean, that's what our music's for. It's for those oddballs, the odd ones out, the ones that feel lonely in a crowded room, for the black sheeps of the
The Black
family.
Sheep. Yeah, I was just going to say. Yeah. Um, you mentioned earlier that you feel very comfortable on stage. So what are the plans for the stage for this band in 2026?
So 2026, we're planning on doing some more shows, mostly around LA. We're still kind of building that repertoire right now. Touring, I personally, our band is still very young. We're just a little bit over a year old. We have gotten offers before, but I want to make sure that we're, 100% ready. Also in terms too, because, all of us are in our 20s. We don't have a whole lot of equipment or touring equipment, or people, we don't have that sort of money. We don't have mom, we don't have rich parents. Everything that we have is stuff that we've like put our sweat, blood, and tears into. So I don't want to be like, I mean, one of our things too, even our most recent show at Bar Sinister, we were the only band that didn't have our own in-ears. Like, we didn't use in-ears.
Mm.
We like I said, we pretty much raw dogged it. um
Oh, Riker's coming back in April. That's when we'll be playing shows.
Oh, Riker's coming back in April. Thank you. I just see him doing this, and I'm just like, huh? Felt like that cat meme, like, oh.
All
But
right,
yeah,
so more new music coming, a new single coming soon, and some shows coming up in the LA area. If you're around, check them out, Black Sheep. And follow them on social as well for updates on shows and this new music coming as well. But for now, you can enjoy the debut Tears, which came out in 2024. Rosie, thank you for joining me here on the Metal Queens podcast.
Thanks for having me.
And thank you for watching and listening. And again, make sure to follow Black Sheep and Rosie Noir on social media. Black Sheep Band LA on Instagram as well. And I'm Steve Richards, and I will talk to you again next time here on the Metal Queens podcast.